So in this video, I want to show you how to use a formula. It's a frequency formula that tells us the frequency of value in a data set. When you look over here, I've got a set of grades here that I've put in, and then I've got this range of scores. And what frequency is going to do is it's going to tell me how many of these grades fall into these ranges. And I've got the ranges broken down here. So when it says 50, it's talking about 0 to 50. 70 is then 51 to 70, 85, 93, and 100. So basically it tells me how many scores fall between this 51 and 70 range. So in this it would be 8. So you can see them here. There's 1. Then we just keep going down and we're looking for the numbers. So we got 2, 3, 4. Then we see here we got a 70, so 5. And then we got 6 and 7, and I missed one in there somewhere that I didn't count. So we can actually just real quick go 1, 2, then I've got 3, 4, and there's 5. So 6, 7, and 8. There they are. So there's the 8 that fall between that 50 and 70 range. So in order to do this and create this formula, we're going to do a couple things. First, I'm going to erase this out of here so we can redo it. And then so what we're asking is, how often do a set of numbers appear in a range? So given the example here, how many values fall between the range of 70 and 80? So that's what this formula answers for us. Now, first thing we want to do is we're going to throw some grades in here, and we're going to use a formula called rand between. So what rand between does is it gives us a bottom number, so we'll say 40, make our top number 100, and it's going to generate a random number. So we hit enter, and you'll see it generates a 67. So when I drag this down, it then goes in and it generates random numbers. Now, one of the things that I want to do is I want to copy this and do a paste special, and I'll show you why. I'm going to go over here and just type a 5, and it changes the numbers. Type a 7. See how it changes the numbers every time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and copy, and then I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to right click and choose paste 1, 2, 3 with just the value. So that gives me the scores without actually giving me the formula. So that way I can just instantly random generate here these 37 different scores. So the next thing I'm going to do is do a range. So I'm going to say 50, 70, 85, and then we'll do 93 and 100 like we had up. So here's my ranges. So remember that technically what this means is 0 to 50. This of course would mean 51 to 70. This one would then mean of course 71 to 85. And this would mean 86 to 93. And then this would mean 94 to 100. So that's these ranges that this represents. So essentially we're talking about being greater than or equal to this number. So this is greater than or equal, or less than or equal to 50, but then this one is greater than 50, but then equal to 70. So greater than or equal to 85, greater than or equal to 93, greater than the 93 or equal to 100 is what this is saying by these ranges. So it's going to be greater than this number, but then equal to that number. So to use the formula, what we do is we say, we're going to highlight all of these and we're going to say equals frequency. So then it says the data array. So the term array is an arrangement of similar objects. So in this case, the array here is the grades. So this is an arrangement of grades. So we're going to use that. And then it asks for a bins array. Well, the bins are the ranges, which is this. So that's the way that works. So we can close the parentheses. So the way the array works is it's a formula that can perform multiple calculations on one or more items in the array. So we're going to use an array on this frequency formula to determine the range of scores here within our frequency. So you'll see I have over here, in other words, we use a special formula that performs multiple calculations across a range of data. So off this range and this range. Now to activate an array in Excel, we have to use a special formula, the array, and to basically make this work, we use Control, Shift, and Enter instead of a regular Enter key. And what it's going to do is create a set of curly brackets around the formula. So if I hold down Control and Shift and then I hit Enter, you'll see it generates my formula. And you can see here I've got frequency, I've got my curly brackets surrounding my formula, and then you'll see it generates it here. So based off these numbers, that tells me that there are 7 scores that are 0 to 50. There are 10 scores between 51 and 70, 9 between a 71 and an 85, 7 between an 86 and a 93, and then there are 4 scores that are 94 or better. So if we want to go in here and take this 95, for example, that would be in this range here. If we make that a 93, you'll see what happens. Now we have 8 and we have 3. So this updates as scores are inputted. So if we change this one to a 70, now all of a sudden we have 11 here, and it updates everything else. So you see how these numbers change and the frequency changes. But that formula is a very handy formula in terms of being able for us to look at grade distribution. How many did we have? How many A's, how many B's, how many C's, D's, F's? How many grades did we have? That's an easy way for us to run a formula based off these numerical grades and see how many of those we had.